Welcome. This is Impact 2022, our continuing conversation where we talk about all the different issues race, religion, social issues, what's current events, what's happening in the news. And this is our continuing conversation. And as always, as it being a continuing conversation, we ask that you type in your questions into the comment section and we address them as they appear. And so, like always, we just hop right into the conversation. Uh, this won't be a long drawn out program tonight. We're going to get right to it, get in and get out based on the amount of comments that we have. But there's been a lot going on, a lot going on. And the hot topics that's going on, of course, is the Supreme Court decision to end Roe versus Wade. What's the hot thing that's going on also connected to the Supreme Court decision, and that it also puts on the table the end of contraception, puts on the table the end of same-sex marriage. It also puts on the table the end of interracial marriage, even though they didn't say that. Um, but all those things are hot topics right now. When I say the end of it, it's just been made. The legal defense of it at the federal level has now gone away because of the Supreme Court decision that was recently made. And of course, that's what everybody wants to talk about. Ironically, that's not what we're talking about. Also, what's been going on, if you've been just keeping track, um, mass shootings have continued to take place. Shootings have continued to take place. People have continued to be um, shot and killed in this country, the United States. And as we discussed last week, whereas we went into gun control and uh, what needs to be done when it comes to gun violence. And so things are hot and heavy, and things have not changed when it comes to those. So those are the big topics that are out now. However, again, we're not talking about either one of those. We're talking about something a little less interesting, a little bit more boring, a little bit more mundane, and something that we've touched in before. But one of the things that we are going to talk about is, again, our current state of the economy. And you're like, well, we've talked about this before. We talked about the response from the church as far as continuing to give and continuing to have the responsibilities that we need to have to our social programs and to those people who are in need. Um, but there's one other aspect um, that I wanted to see if anyone had any comments on, as well as myself, when it comes to the economy and the changes that have been going on, and that is greed. Um, and in the sense of that is people have become greedy, and a different type of greedy, the type of greedy where you go into the grocery store and you try to buy up everything that you can for yourself, to where they have to put limits on things. For example, there's a shortage of there was a shortage of baby food, and so they had to start putting limits on the amount of baby food that people could buy. Um, there have been shortages on other products, and they had to put limits on those as well. Um, and we all remember in 2020 when they had the great toilet paper shortage that was going on, and people were just going in and stacking up and buying large amounts of paper products, sanitation paper products, in order to just have them and stockpile them in their house. But there's a situation of where we're having greed, and it's going two ways. There's greed for people buying up everything, and then there's greed in the sense of prices of things that are going up, gas prices and other prices. And we're like, oh man, it's economy and economic factors. And believe me, I know. As somebody who's worked in business and economics, somebody who a long time ago used to teach and tutor economics, I know how the economy works, and economies of scale works when we're talking about supply side and we're talking about demand and we're talking about basically just basic supply and demand and pricing and some of the outside influences. But there is a lot of gouging going on. There are a lot of people who are being opportunistic. There are a lot of people who are being extremely greedy, and a lot of people who are taking advantage. And there are opportunities unfortunately, for all of us to do that. Because when people don't have what they need and we have what they need, we can give it to them, or we can be opportunistic and give it to them at a raised price. Or, we can make people do things for us, to compensate us because we have something that they don't have, the scarcity, the value. And unfortunately, that's happening more and more. That's happening um, at an extremely high level. And what has been going on, especially when we're talking about things like gas prices, when we're talking about things like um, just prices of things in the grocery store and the prices of things in places that we go, all of these prices don't need to go up. They're unofficially or artificially being inflated. Why is this important to just regular old you and I, who may not own a business or may not have any influence on the prices and the things that go up? Um, this comes back to what we've talked about a lot of times, and that's our responsibility um, as moral individuals, as people who are going to be, those who represent the right way, or who talk and discuss about the right way to do things. Um, we have to be those active voices who will point out what is wrong and incorrect when it comes to greed. And from what people are saying, if this is true with our environment being inflationary and things continuing to go along the way that they are going to go, we're going to have plenty of opportunities to speak out against those wrongs when we see people taking advantage. And you'll hear there's a difference. People say, no, you're being smart, you're being a good business person, you're being shrewd, you're being opportunistic. Or are we taking advantage? Like, there's a fine line and a difference between being opportunistic and taking advantage. And in times like these, in times where people get desperate, when in times like where people are starting to struggle, that's when people get opportunistic. When people start selling things on the secondary market or the black market at increased prices. I mean, everybody wants to get a good deal. Everybody wants to be that person who goes to, um, bargain shopping and find something and then can turn it around and sell it for a profit. And that makes sense within reason. But there's a difference between doing that and taking something that people need and then sell it to them at sky high prices, knowing that you're harming individuals or knowing that it's something that they need to survive. We think back again to the pandemic and those crazy times where people were getting hand sanitizer and selling it for 10 times what it was worth in order to, make a profit. Now, in one sense, yeah, you think that that's smart, but on the other, this is things that people need. They needed the hand sanitizer, and the belief was at the time, and very much true, is that was going to keep you safe and be able to get rid of some germs and be able to keep, COVID and other diseases away from you. And you're trying to sell it to it for 10 times what it's worth. And so then it only comes down to whether or not you have the money to purchase it or not. And so the greed, the level of greed, and the opportunities for people to be greedy are here. And the level of greed is increasingly getting high, and we're noticing it in different subtle aspects of life. It does us no good to have, it does us no good that now we have some of the highest wages that we've ever had. It does us no good that now we've had one of the highest minimum wages that we've ever had, where the minimum wages have been going up to $10, to $12, to $15 in some places. Yet all of the prices goes up, and all the opportunities that you once had, you don't have anymore. This is the time where people have to come together, I believe. And this is the time where you actually want to give discounts. This is the time where you want to be able to say, what is enough? If I have enough to survive, if I have enough to do well, how much more do I need? How much higher do I have to go? And how many more people can I help versus how many more people can I take advantage of? We're all going to be in that, in at some point in time, we're all in that predicament. And so for those who have money, those who have good jobs, those who are not going to be broken down to the bare bones, It is our time to call out those injustices that we see, call out that greed that we see, call out when it doesn't seem right. For those of us who are struggling, who may live paycheck to paycheck or may not have a paycheck coming in at all, because a lot of people are being laid off at this point in time. Or actually, as much as they say that everybody can have a job, there's plenty of people who just haven't been able to get one, been able to find one. But all of us who are in that boat where we're just struggling to survive, we have to call it out as well. When we see the greed, we have to ask them why. We have to tell them this isn't right. We have to make sure that we stand up and say that this greed is not acceptable. Prices do supposed to go up. Again, like I said, I understand the economy. I understand pricing power. I understand suppliers' prices are going up. But I do also understand that sometimes, because you saw the price go up down the street, and you see the price go up on the other side of town, nothing has really changed too much for you. You just say, hey, if everybody else is raising their prices, I'm going to raise mine as well. If everybody else is doing it, I'm going to do it as well. And so, unfortunately, we're in that time where we have to band together, where we have to make sure that we call out the injustices that we see. What I often talk about here, and what we often talk about here, is banding together. There's only two places, I'm going to speak personally in my eyes. There's only two places that we have power. One is the power that we get from our faith, from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That power, that awesome power that we have. And the second place that we have power is in our numbers, and getting together, in our relationships, and who we know. And that second power we rarely use. The reason that the reason that we don't see the change that we want to see, that we particularly want to see, is because we don't have the numbers and we don't flex our power. When I say we, it's whatever group you're a part of. So if you're young people who are trying to get some change done, it's because enough young people are not getting it together. If you're of a particular race, myself, African American, it's because we're not getting it together and flexing our power. The groups who get things done are the groups who are able to band together and flex their power. The ones who can say, no, I'm not doing this, or we're not going to do this as a group. We're going to sacrifice and not do this as a group. I was encouraged because, I heard that there was a protest that was going to go on July 2nd and 3rd, where no one was going to purchase gas, or a bunch of people were going to protest but not purchasing gas, and showing that for 2 days, without us purchasing gas, look how much revenue you're going to lose. And we can do this on a larger scale if you don't get this pricing situation under control. Now I'm encouraged. I don't know who put that together. I don't know whether it will work or whether or not. I don't know whether it was just some little internet thing or if it was a concerted effort. I don't know, because I just wasn't informed of where this came from. But either way, I'm encouraged because people are sitting back thinking about the power that they have to enforce change, to not only help themselves, but to help others. And that's what we all need to do at this point in time. If we see something that we think is not right, we need to get together and flex our power. Stop being greedy. You don't need everything. So if we need to sacrifice your favorite TV show, your favorite food, your favorite location, your favorite activity, then let's do that. That is how our power grows. And that is what we have for today. No comments, but I think everybody who is watching, everybody who has put in comments before may put in a comment later on. But that's our topic tonight, to make sure, again, that in these new times, this inflationary times, this times of weird economic struggle, that we do two things. One, we call out when we see that injustice of greed, and two, that we know how to get together and flex our power to make change. Thank you. We'll be here as always. Impact 2022 on 8 o'clock on Tuesday nights. Don't forget we have Thursday Thirst on Thursdays at 7 o'clock. And every Sunday at 10, we have service. Thank you. Have a good night. And please join us again for Impact 2022.